Okay, so it's been roughly 1 month since we started playing Tears of the Kingdom. 1 month since release.
Oh.
Yeah.
A lot's happened.
A lot has happened. And the honeymoon phase is starting to fade through. I have some things that I really like, some things I'm not a fan of, and some things that's just kind of in the middle where I'm just like,
Meh.
So be it. So when last we left off, I finished the Wind Temple when I faced Kolgera, the boss, and I was just like, oh boy, if we can keep to this pattern of like unique bosses per dungeon, I'm a happy camper. I'm happy to say, after doing all of the dungeons thus far, I've done the main 4, that is the case.
Okay.
There are different bosses, each boss has its own theme. The dungeons themselves range from fine to really enjoyable. Like
Okay.
I definitely enjoyed the Lightning Temple.
That one was cool.
I really liked that
cool.
one. And the boss of that, the Gibdo Queen, she was really cool as well.
Yeah.
A fun challenge. We also went and did all the glyphs to get the story. So we're piecing together like what all happened in the past with like Rauru and them. And I'm gonna start with my first. It's hard to say it's a complaint, but
your first room for improvement.
Room for improvement, yes. It's and I've heard the rebuttal for this, and I get it, but every time you finish a dungeon, you have basically the same exact cutscene. And Link is just like, news to me!
Yeah.
No matter what. And this is a recurring issue I have because the more I've seen like the way the story goes, there's a difference between how Link acts in the story and how Link acts through gameplay.
Right.
So like in the game, when he's cold, he'll shiver.
Right.
When he cooks, he's excited. But in every cutscene, he's just...
Well, he's copy and paste.
Yeah.
I would say like...
But even in past Zeldas, like there were little quirks he gave for that, like that little bit of character.
Yeah.
Even like...
I think because in that moment, it's not about Link.
That's usually the rebuttal I hear.
It's not about him.
It's about the sages discovering what's going down. Not Link the character.
If I were to change the story, because I brought that up whenever you were like, I feel like I've seen this before, and I'm like, because it's exactly the same as the previous one. I would, instead of reliving the story of how they promised Zelda that their kin would help Link, I would have rather had the story of how they became a sage. Like, were they chosen? Were they already gifted? How did they get recruited? You know, what is their story?
Yeah, how did you get the tier to which you pass down to the new sage?
And
I like that.
To be like, you possess that same power I have.
They do that in Wind Waker! Spoilers.
Oh.
They do that in Wind Waker. It just dawned on me. I was just like, son of a bitch, they did that. And like, it worked because it was just like,
I feel like it would just be
more...
more...
I can no longer carry on this legacy. I have to pass it down to the one who holds this instrument.
More dynamic, because then it wouldn't just be copy and paste the same exact story over and over and over, just from a different voice actor to a different element. Like, I think that it would just be more interesting to play through versus like, well, this is going to take a minute. I'm going to go shit. Like, you know, that's my opinion on that.
Okay. Well, this all comes to a head in the recent boss we just did, which is my favorite boss so far, and that's Phantom Ganon.
Yeah.
This is the point where I'm at.
Cool.
It was a cool fight, very challenging. I enjoyed it. But this boils down to my previous point with Link kind of having the information, but the story doesn't go along with it, is we know that is not Zelda.
Right.
We also know, because I went and did the glyphs first, that is Ganon in disguise, because he does that in a memory when he kills Sonya.
Right.
So the fact that Ganon's just like, I fooled you. No, you didn't!
Well, I think because like books do this a lot. You as the viewer know, but Link as a character does not know.
How not?
He
watched the memory. That's the memory that he's watching, and he reacts in the end when it's
out of order.
over.
It's all out of order. Remember that?
It's out of order, but the moment
And it
of
was
like,
also...
oh, I'm not Zelda, I'm Ganon, and it kills.
But it's also...
That connects.
My rebuttal for that is that was also in the past. It was a memory.
Okay.
So whereas now in the present, all of the sages are like, I saw Zelda here.
Mhm.
They didn't see that memory. And that's what they're doing. They're looking for Zelda. So when, you know, a sage is like, I saw Zelda up in the Wind Temple or, you know, what have you. Link is going to be like, fuck, that's who I'm looking for. All right, let's do this. Like,
Right.
So he knows that Ganon once imitated Zelda, but that was in the past.
Okay.
So I don't know if maybe there's that time awareness that it's like he's aware that that happened, but it was in the past. But it's also
Clearly, he won't do it again.
But but it's also like, did Link ever himself see Zelda going to a place, or was it always somebody told him, I saw Zelda here, and then it flashes to her being like, come here, and then Link is like, okay. Like, so that's my retort for that. I don't think that that's as big of a deal. Plus, I really like the animation of like Puppet Zelda.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I thought that was very cool.
There's lovely little details, but it's just like the story, it doesn't complement the information that you've already given because you can tell it in every order. So it plays it safe by being like, oh, you might not know this information, so we're not going to address this information. But if you have the information, it's just like, no, you don't.
I think I'm more open to it because that happens a lot in books.
Okay.
Where it's like, I know who the killer is.
Okay.
But the character that I'm reading through the perspective doesn't know who the killer is.
All right.
So, like, the whole time you're like, that's not them! Like, it's almost like a frustration with the character. So, like, they're following, quote-unquote, Zelda. And you, as the player, know, like, that's not her. But the characters in the game don't know that.
All right.
So, and that's my... Like, I completely get where you're coming from. Like, Link already saw that memory. Like, but the other characters did not. They didn't see that memory, and they're the ones seeing Zelda. So that's why we're going on this journey where we're like, you dumb bitch, that's not gonna be her. like you're aware of it, but your characters are not aware of it.
Okay. At the time of this recording, I've done 55 shrines. Most of them are enjoyable, but it is kind of sad that like it all results to build things. And I've gotten to the point where I'm just like, why can't I save what I build?
Yeah.
Like there's timers on them. Some of them disappear. They fall off because of the goddamn physics. They fall off a cliff and I'm just like, well, I just wasted 35 minutes of my life.
I think that's the point of the shrine though, is to practice.
The shrine, that's okay. In the overworld and stuff, I'm like, can I keep my shit? I took the time to be like, ooh, what can I build here? Neat. It's gone.
And it's gone.
And it's gone. Can I save it? Can I keep it? No. So, like, I've lost count how many, like, goddamn hot air balloons I've had to build, whereas I'm just like, can I just save a hot air balloon and pull it out? I'm just asking.
And, you know, that could be something that they work on with the next game. You know, that's something that they changed from, like, Breath of the Wild to Tears of the Kingdom. They made some of those adjustments that people were unhappy with. You know, they put more dungeons in.
Yeah.
They put more story in. You know, they put a little bit more structure in there. So it's like, who knows? Maybe that'll be in the next.
Well, the game's breaking records in sales right now.
Oh, yeah.
So
it'll
it's just
be
like,
a decade before anything new.
We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with the series going forward. But, I like the sage avatars. I like the abilities of like kind of like having them around.
Yeah.
But a friend of mine also brought up, why can't just they join you?
Yeah.
What, like, the game clearly says, you must join Link and help him with this cause. I will join you and help you with this cause in spirit.
Do you know what
sending our prayers.
I know.
To the calamity.
Sending good vibes.
Sending good vibes.
You know what I bet it is?
What is it?
I bet it's cheaper. It's cheaper to have them be that solid blue color with outline than to have an animation of those characters moving around.
I'm gonna be honest, that makes it worse.
I know it does because
like, this is
they
one
make
of the
so
biggest,
much money.
Yeah, the biggest goddamn gaming companies, And it's just like, well, this is a way to cut corners.
But I bet that has something to do with it.
It probably
does.
does.
It's cheaper to make them one color than to have them be their characters. So not only do they have to animate and color and program those, they don't have to pay voice actors because these are silent.
No, they still do the little woo! And here we go.
Yeah, but they don't
Yeah!
talk. There's no like conversation.
No.
I can almost guarantee that if you were to link up, get it, link up, all of the like, whoo, they're going to be the exact same woo. That actor did the woo once. you know? So like, I do think that was probably a business plan to keep costs down. I don't think it was anything other than that.
But yeah, this is where it's tough because I'm enjoying this so much more than Breath of the Wild. Like, even little things like Breath of the Wild had you climb all the towers to activate them. And by the third one, I was just like, I'm sick of this shit.
Yeah.
But something about being launched out of a tower and being able to, like, fly wherever you want, that's exciting to me. I enjoy that. But as much as I like it, it's hard to say it's one of my favorite games when there are parts of it I am downright ignoring.
Yeah.
The depths are cool, but I don't much care for the sky. I've seen a couple islands, I'm like, neat, what else?
Yeah.
There's so much to where, like, some of it I'm just like, cool, don't want that. I feel like I'm at a buffet. Oh, I'll have some of that and some of this.
But you know what?
Whereas
I think that might also be...
with Trials of Mana or Ys or other games, I want every part of it.
I think that might also be a strategy, though, because I can almost guarantee you there are people out there that are like, I really love the skies, but, you know, fuck the depths. Like, they're not my favorite part. And you know what Nintendo's doing? They're like, good. Both of them bought the game.
Yes. Oh, I know.
You know, like...
And I'm not saying
so
I don't know why they're doing. I'm saying
strategy.
For my personal preferences in what I look for in a game, this keeps it from being in like the toppest of tiers.
Yeah.
Because those games where I'm just like, I love every bit, warts and all, I accept it. And that is even the most damning thing when at the time of this recording, I'm replaying Link's Awakening.
Right.
And I love how deliberate and important every part of that island is that you explore. I never feel like a corner's being cut.
Right.
Whereas here, I'm just like, they put a lot of effort here, and there they're just kind of like,
so
we'll just throw this
effort.
together. But I still enjoy it. I'm still having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Its pros outweigh the cons by a landslide for me.
Oh, yeah.
But as for like people saying like, it's the greatest game of all time, sure, I guess.
I think that's such an opinion. Like,
oh, absolutely.
There's no way to be like, this is.
But another thing is just like when Breath of the Wild, they're like, it's perfect, don't change a thing. Well, they changed it. It's better now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear it's perfect, don't change a thing. No, keep changing.
Yeah,
you might come across another idea that's actually really good.
Always room for improvement. So I really like. I didn't pray. I never pray. Except for when I'm driving. You just gave me a look. You're like, truth. Anywho.
The look was, finish your thought.
Yeah, focus. So I haven't played Breath of the Wild for very long. Mm-hmm. However, I can already tell something that I like much better about this one versus that one is the people, like the other characters, the interactions. I know you said that they're there.
They are there.
But like, to me, it's so much more dynamic to be able to go to a village and go to a town and get a side quest or get a request.
They're definitely
or help
more
them
prominent.
And do things.
The story really complements taking the world back. Yeah. Which I think helps.
So
whereas Breath of the Wild tried to play it as just like, it's post-apocalyptic, but it's also like nice and peaceful.
Yeah.
I'm just like, well, you gotta pick one.
While I like that, it also gets old.
Yeah.
Like, because there's no one to interact with for a large majority of the game.
That, and going back to your original point, it's cheap.
Yeah.
Where's everybody? Oh, they died. So we didn't have to program them.
And it's like, whereas I feel like if it was like, where is everybody? They died. Ghost them. make it so he can still interact with them, even though they're dead.
So
like,
there is that in Breath of the Wild as well. There are some ghosts.
Well, I did get the...
Because that's the king.
The parasail, so, yeah.
That too, yep.
So I know that he's a ghost, but do more of that. Like...
A little.
I don't know. It just, to me, like, that makes the game a lot more interesting and holds the attention, at least my attention, more, because I'm like, who's over here?
Right.
What's over here? As opposed to just like, well, I don't know where I'm at. Like, it kind of gives you more of a thrill to play.
Yeah.
Whenever it's like, I know who's over here or what's over here. And it also helps navigate because you have every area, the characters are different.
Okay.
They look different. They have a different environment.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like playing Breath of the Wild, I never really knew where I was at unless I went into like the cold place. I'm just like, I don't know.
That's what brings me back to Link's Awakening. Like, every part was like different enough to where like
you know where you're at.
You know where you're at.
So it's like, even if I don't know the name of that area, you could be like, oh, go to the place where the people are fish. And I'm like, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Or like, go to the place where they're all birds. And it's like, I can do that. Whereas if you're like, go to Everest Mountain. And I'm just like, what is that? I don't know. So I do like that a lot more. And I think that's more of a personal preference for me.
So I don't know if it's because I'm more accepting of the style of soundtrack or if it actually is more prominent, but the music feels more prominent.
Oh yeah.
When it comes in, it really dominates.
Yeah. I like that.
It knows how to be subtle, it knows how to be soothing, it knows how to be bombastic, it knows how to be creepy.
And I think that's the point of a soundtrack. It's nice to have that instead of just the same owl hooting over and over and over. Hoot.
Or like the little piano.
Yeah.
No matter where you are in the world, it's the same piano.
So whereas this music, like, you still have those nature sounds and natural sounds throughout the game, but there's also a light piano melody or
more towns,
you know,
so you can hear more of the melodies. Like Terrytown was really cool because it had like a mixture of like all kinds of instruments.
Yeah.
Low brass, winds.
So it's nice
strings,
to hear that instead of just solid nature sounds.
And the drums.
Yeah. And Link just walking.
So I have another. It falls into kind of like a disappointment.
Okay.
So originally, I thought fuse overwrites durability. To where like you fuse and it's just like, cool, my durability's back up. I don't have to waste this weapon. It doesn't. So when my weapon's about to break and I fuse it, it doesn't reset the durability. It's still gonna break. And I'm like, well, that's a buzzkill. Another thing, I wish fuse was just a little bit quicker.
Yeah.
The fact that you have to like grab the items, unless they're already on the ground, drop them, then fuse is just a little, I'm like, come on, we can speed this up just a little bit, just a tiny bit. Smooth it out just a little bit and it would be perfect because I love having my enemies' materials and resources be resources I can use for my weapons.
Yeah.
That is really cool to be like, oh, that's a black bokoblin. I want to kill it because I'll get a black bokoblin horn, making my sword uber powerful.
Yeah.
Whereas earlier, I was just like, I don't want to go back and just get a regular bokoblin club. What the fuck do I do with it?
Yeah.
But now I can be like, I'll take this
you can make
bokoblin
it better.
bokoblin club, and I will add the black bokoblin horn, so that junk is, the trash is now treasure.
Excuse me.
So I really like that. Overall, I like the ability so much more than Breath of the Wild. Ultra Hand's more convenient than Magnesis.
Excuse me, sorry.
Cryonis, half the time I forgot I even had. And Stasis was neat, but it was also just kind of like, oh, let's break the game and fling this over here.
From what I can tell, like, it seems as though you're using all of the abilities equally. You know, there's not like that one certain ability that's just like, well, this is where I live now.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of what Psychonauts felt like, is like you had one ability that you used the most, and then when you got a new ability, it was only in that area that it was useful.
Yeah, well, that's a problem with previous Zeldas, to where like you'd get new tools I think Link's Awakening got away with it, but some Zeldas, it's just like, you use it in this dungeon, and that's
then
about it.
You don't use it anymore.
You don't really use it anymore. Which, that's an issue that, like, Nintendo always kind of struggles with. It's just like, oh, we have this neat idea. Where do you use it? Here. Great. Where else?
Here. Like, no, just here.
That's it.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't hate the weapon system of the weapons breaking.
Okay.
I don't know if it's
fine.
because I'm not as serious as a gamer or a fan. Like, I love Link and I love Zelda.
Mm-hmm.
I think that they are definitely in my top 5 video game characters that
Okay.
I just adore.
Okay.
But like, I didn't grow up with the games, so I'm not necessarily as attached to like an old way of them playing.
Okay.
But I think that the breaking of weapons is an interesting way to force you to try new weapons. So, because it's like, I don't know about you, but I think Castlevania, like, in every Castlevania game, there's like that one weapon that you just fucking love and you want to use it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if, like, you're using, I hate to say it, but it makes the most sense in this example. Say you're using the knife in Castlevania.
Okay.
And you're just like, yes, this kills everything, it works perfect, and then it breaks.
Okay.
Now you have to experiment with a new weapon and try to figure out the benefits of that weapon. So I do like that idea. I do think there could be improvements
Okay.
on it. I like the idea of, like, if you fuse it with something, it should change the stats of that weapon.
Yeah.
You know, if you're gonna do physics, like he builds a cart and the cart rolls off a cliff,
Yeah.
you should include that in your weapon tree. So it's like, if you're using a spear and that spear breaks and you fuse a rock on the end, like, that should change the weapon.
Yeah. It shouldn't just shatter and disappear. It should
Yeah.
be broken, and you're
able to
That's
fuse
what I
it to
thought it
something
was
else.
at first.
So
Your weapon breaks. Oh, I fuse it
Yeah.
to something. Now it's not broken anymore.
So while I don't hate the idea of the weapons breaking, because I do think that that forces you to try new things
Right.
and to do new things, and I feel like you can discover certain weapons affect certain creatures differently.
Mm-hmm.
So when I really like that concept, I think it's a neat way to keep it fresh. I do think that there could be some improvements,
Okay.
but I don't hate it. I don't hate that idea.
I'm indifferent because, again, I know, like, there's only so many weapons,
Yeah.
and they all more or less function the same. So once you get it, I'm just kind of like, all right. It turns into, this broke, and then I just swap and shuffle and be like,
and get a new one.
all right, grab this one. It's not that different. It's just, stop the action, resume action. That's the issue.
Yeah. Whereas I think if it's going to do that, I would like to see different weapons behave differently. So,
Yeah.
like, when Link has a sword versus when he has a giant club, you know, the reaction times should be different.
They are.
The hit times should be different. So, like, that's what I mean mostly with that. So you can see the difference in the weapons. They do make a difference. I think it would also be cool if he did have one standard weapon that did not break.
That's what I
So
what I
it's
thought
like-
the broken master sword
So, like,
was, but
you
we got rid of that immediately.
you do have the option to try these new weapons and see which ones are more powerful and which ones help more, but you also have that one sturdy sword that you just keep at all times that's like your safety net.
Mm-hmm.
So, oh shit, I broke all my weapons. I didn't stock up. Here's my sword.
Mm-hmm.
So it's way less powerful. It doesn't have any special things attached to it, but it's still, like, available.
Right.
It's the whip in Castlevania. You never lose your whip.
Right.
You know, you can make it cool and do things, but you always have it. That's just my opinion.
I got you. It's just, I hear that all the time, and it's just like, I guess it works for some people. It doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Like, I've enjoyed the weapon durability more this time. I did really hope that they wouldn't just shatter into nothing and I just fuse them and be like, cool. Now
Yeah.
I have the option to be like, no, I like that. I want to fuse it with this or this.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, that's just not the case. But I'm enjoying it more than Breath of the Wild because, again, I have materials that I can
Right.
make new weapons from. Not just, oh, well, I don't want to raid that camp and fight those monsters because they'll just drop weapons that are weak as shit. No use to me.
Right.
So that's overall how I feel about that. Any final thoughts? Because we have one more video we're going to do after we beat the game.
Yeah. I really like the animations. I freaking love Link's reactions when he's cooking and he's just super happy. Or like when he's like eating and you know you're giving him more stats and he just like is chowing down. I think
and he pats his belly.
I know, it's so cute. But I also love the move. Like I'm very movement oriented whenever it comes to like visual representations, I suppose.
All right.
But like the puppet Zelda, I thought that was really cool. There are no strings. There's nothing but like just the movement of the body, I think was really well done. And it's the same with Ganon. Like the way that his body moves, like you believe that that's a corpse.
Yeah.
You know, that's an undead corpse because he moves like an undead corpse. So I think that is
the
really
Gyptos were really cool. Like
really
that as
well done. Yeah.
Like the backs arching and like when you cut them in half, their top half would kind of like crawl towards you.
Yeah, like I just think that the animations, the details in that is really, really nice. Because those are the things that I noticed just as like an art and visual person is like, oh, that movement is amazing. Like the I guess this would be cinematography rather than choreographing, but like how everything moves together looks really good.
Okay.
So I would say that's like,
well, Nintendo's always
my
been
ending
like
on a positive note.
A stickler for details.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, I'm just like, I agree. And on the other hand, I'm just like, nothing new here.
Yeah. It's new for me.
Nintendo's good with details. No shit.
Yeah. It's not, it is the details, but to me, it's just like the fluidity of the movement.
Okay.
So it's not like, I am a dead corpse. It's like, dead corpse. And you're just like, oh shit. Like, that looked really good.
All right then.
I would say that's...
So we'll see you all with the final video after we finish Tears of the Kingdom and give our full final thoughts. And then play some other Zelda games.
Woohoo!
Because we're a bit overdue for some Zelda on this channel.
Facts.
All right. So we'll see you all in the next video. And let us know what you think of Tears of the Kingdom. Is it better than Breath of the Wild? Do you like it less than Breath of the Wild?
And why?
Exactly. Let us know.
3 pages. Due on Monday. Toodles!